This video is for educational purposes. Seattle is a seaport city on the west coast of the United States. It is the seat of King County, Washington. With a 2022 population of 749,256, it is the most populous city in both the state of Washington and the Pacific Northwest region of North America, and the 18th most populous city in the United States. The Seattle metropolitan area's population is 4.02 million, making it the 15th largest in the United States. Its growth rate of 21.1% between 2010 and 2020 made it one of the country's fastest-growing large cities. Subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Seattle is situated on an isthmus between Puget Sound, an inlet of the Pacific Ocean, and Lake Washington. It is the northernmost major city in the United States, located about 100 miles, 160 kilometers south of the Canadian border. A gateway for trade with East Asia, the Port of Seattle is the fourth largest port in North America in terms of container handling as of 2021. The Seattle area has been inhabited by Native Americans, such as the Duwamish, who had at least 17 villages around Elliott Bay, for at least 4,000 years before the first permanent European settlers. Arthur A. Denny and his group of travelers, subsequently known as the Denny Party, arrived from Illinois via Portland, Oregon, on the schooner Exact at Alki Point on November 13, 1851. The settlement was moved to the eastern shore of Elliott Bay in 1852 and named Seattle in honor of Chief Seattle, a prominent 19th-century leader of the local Duwamish and Suquamish tribes. Seattle currently has high populations of Native Americans alongside Americans with strong Asian, African, European, and Scandinavian ancestry, and, as of 2015, hosts the fifth-largest LGBT community in the U.S. Logging was Seattle's first major industry, but by the late 19th century the city had become a commercial and shipbuilding center as a gateway to Alaska during the Klondike Gold Rush. The city grew after World War II, partly due to the local Boeing company, which established Seattle as a center for its manufacturing of aircraft. Beginning in the 1980s, the Seattle area developed into a technology center. Microsoft established its headquarters in the region. In 1994, internet retailer Amazon was founded in Seattle, and Alaska Airlines is based in SeaTac, Washington, serving Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, Seattle's international airport. The stream of new software, biotechnology, and internet companies led to an economic revival, which increased the city's population by almost 50,000 in the decade between 1990 and 2000. The culture of Seattle is heavily defined by its significant musical history. Between 1918 and 1951, nearly 24 jazz nightclubs existed along Jackson Street, from the current Chinatown/International District to the Central District. The jazz scene nurtured the early careers of Ernestine Anderson, Ray Charles, Quincy Jones, and others. In the late 20th and early 21st century, the city also was the origin of several rock bands, including Foo Fighters, Heart, and Jimi Hendrix, and the subgenre of grunge and its pioneering bands, including Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and others. Archaeological excavations suggest that Native Americans have inhabited the Seattle area for at least 4,000 years. By the time the first European settlers arrived, the Duwamish people occupied at least 17 villages in the areas around Elliott Bay. The name for the modern city of Seattle in Lushootseed, Didlalaisi, meaning little crossing over place, comes from one of these villages, which located at the present-day King Street station. In May 1792, George Vancouver was the first European to visit the Seattle area during his 1791 to 1795 expedition for the Royal Navy, which sought to chart the Pacific Northwest for the British. In 1851, a large party of American pioneers led by Luther Collins made a location on land at the mouth of the Duwamish River. They formally claimed it on September 14, 1851. 13 days later, members of the Collins Party on the way to their claim passed 3 scouts of the Denny Party. Members of the Denny Party claimed land on Alki Point on September 28, 1851. The rest of the Denny Party set sail on the schooner Exact from Portland, Oregon, stopping in Astoria, and landed at Alki Point during a rainstorm on November 13, 1851. After a difficult winter, most of the Denny Party relocated across Elliott Bay and claimed land a second time at the site of present-day Pioneer Square, naming this new settlement Duwams. Charles Terry and John Lowe remained at the original landing location, re-established their old land claim and called it New York, but renamed New York Alki in April 1853, from a Chinook word meaning, roughly, by and by, or someday. For the next few years, New York Alki and Duwamish competed for dominance, but in time Alki was abandoned and its residents moved across the bay to join the rest of the settlers. David Swinson, Doc Maynard, one of the founders of Duwamish, was the primary advocate to name the settlement Seattle after Chief seattlewa, Sia, anglicized as Seattle, chief of the Duwamish and Suquamish tribes. The name Seattle appears on official Washington Territory papers dated May 23, 1853, when the first plats for the village were filed. In 1855, nominal land settlements were established. On January 14, 1865, the legislature of territorial Washington incorporated the town of Seattle with a board of trustees managing the city. The town of Seattle was disincorporated on January 18, 1867, and remained a mere precinct of King County until late 1869, when a new petition was filed and the city was reincorporated December 2, 1869, with a mayor-council government. The corporate seal of the city of Seattle carries the date 1869 and a likeness of Chief Seattle in left profile. That same year, Seattle acquired the epithet of the Queen City, a designation officially changed in 1982 to the Emerald City. Seattle has a history of boom and bust cycles, like many other cities near areas of extensive natural and mineral resources. Seattle has risen several times economically, then gone into precipitous decline, but it has typically used those periods to rebuild solid infrastructure. The first such boom, covering the early years of the city, rode on the lumber industry. During this period the road now known as Yeslerway won the nickname Skid Road, supposedly after the timber skidding down the hill to Henry Yesler's sawmill. The later dereliction of the area may be a possible origin for the term, which later entered the wider American lexicon as Skid Row. Like much of the U.S. West, Seattle experienced conflicts between labor and management and ethnic tensions that culminated in the anti-Chinese riots of 1885 to 1886. This violence originated with unemployed whites who were determined to drive the Chinese from Seattle. Anti-Chinese riots also occurred in Tacoma. Seattle had achieved sufficient economic success when the Great Seattle Fire of 1889 destroyed the central business district. However, a far grander city center rapidly emerged in its place. Finance company Washington Mutual, for example, was founded in the immediate wake of the fire. The Panic of 1893 hit Seattle hard. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. See you in the next one.